I'm here to talk to you about, by the way, who has heard of RPA? Just robotic process automation, raise your hands. Okay. Not as many as I would have thought, considering how fast it's growing. The thing I'd like to talk to you about today is reimagining banking, financial services, and insurance as we go forward in an age of automation. But before we do this, I'm not sure about you, but this is my imagery of what the world is like today. This is what the world looks like. I don't care what country you live in, this is pretty much what it looks like. And the speed of business today is going at least this fast, faster than any of us would have imagined. Why is this? In large part because it's what I call digital native companies. It's not an unusual expression, we're all familiar with it. But when you have digital native companies that have been able to actually create and fulfill demand on demand, and you mix that with digital native customers that are so used to working with technology, they know nothing else, we have created a I have to have it now economy. That's the world we live in, and it affects every business in any part of the world. So the big question that we ask ourselves is, why, after 20 years of automation technologies, the majority of business processes are still manual? Why is that? Well, in large part because of what we call the unfulfilled promise of automation. About 20, 25 years ago, ERP companies came along and they promised us that they would automate everything. But in fact, today, about 20% of what is being automated today is left, and 80% of business processes that must be done manually. Then that gave birth to something called the digital enterprise, which is a core tenet of the digital transformation. It is probably one of the two most overused buzzwords in business today, you would admit, right? What does that mean? For us, it means that everything that can be automated is automated. Only when this is possible do you have a true digital enterprise. And that is the amazing advantage of robotic process automation. Software bots that can inexpensively and quickly automate virtually anything. Now, it can't automate those things that human beings do, but it can automate the things that human beings are forced to do in bridging the gaps that we have in our technology platforms that we've relied upon for so many years to automate things, especially in the back office. The digital workforce consists of robotic process automation, RPA, which is best used for rule-based front office and back office, very data-intensive business process automation. A cognitive capability, which actually is exhibited in IQBot, which is a bot that actually learns from human behavior. It can watch anything a human does and begin to learn from it, and it will take over and do it on its own. And Bot Insight, which is a bot that is embedded in the processes themselves and is capable of actually driving more data and visualizing that data to become predictive, a predictive indicator of the impact to the business. All of that is happening within the business processes themselves. So why does a digital workforce working now? Why? Well, the truth of the matter is that I've talked to so many companies and customers that come to me and say, my mandate for my company is to improve efficiency, improve productivity, and I cannot spend one more dollar, not one more dollar, especially on headcount. I can't do it. That's what shared services organizations are charged with all the time. But more importantly, RPA is increasing speed and accuracy of back office business processes to the tune of 100% accuracy. They work all the time. They never take a vacation. They never break for lunch because they're software bots. Improve compliance and controls, specifically relevant to the banking and financial services industry. They're delivering business intelligence at an unprecedented rate enabling digital transformation, that buzzword that I talked about before. But most importantly, it's liberating employees from doing the mundane tasks in the back office that nobody wants to do, especially the people who are actually doing them. It's changing the role of the CIO even more than it's changed before. Now, this role has been changed for many, many years, don't get me wrong, but now the CIO's role is not managing technology any longer. The CIO's role is actually enabling and empowering new business models like the Ubers of the world. Without them, Uber couldn't be possible. Without them, FedEx couldn't be possible. Another company that does business throughout the world and actually relies upon this kind of technology. For financial services, these are the things that are the biggest pain points that they're facing. Heightened customer service expectations. They're no different than any other consumer in the I want it now economy. Competition from fintechs, demanding regulatory requirements that get even more demanding year after year. Disparate legacy systems. And we think to ourselves, these systems will be replaced at some point, but somehow they never are. So we're actually bridging the gap that exists between legacy systems and the more modern technology that companies have to have now. Renewed focus on operational efficiency and getting rid of manual spreadsheet-based processes that every business, but especially financial services, is faced with. When you do these things and you make these changes to be able to automate everything that can be automated, you actually enhance the customer experience. You strengthen governance, which has never been more important than it is today. You foster a spirit and a culture of innovation. And you, most importantly, empower your human capital to do more than just the mundane back office processes using human beings to bridge the gaps that automation should be bridging. When you do all of this, you increase operational efficiency dramatically. Now, for those of us in financial services, in all financial services, this is what our customers are using bots for now. They're using RPA for these processes right now, and this is just the subset. You'll notice in the compliance area, one of the most difficult and complex things, which is know your customer, is being empowered by the use of RPA today. I thought you might be interested, though, if you're thinking about implementing RPA, and most companies are right now, to think about the types of processes that have a higher propensity to actually be automated, which are in the deep orange boxes, the parts of business processes that have sort of a medium propensity to be automated in the yellow boxes, and the gray boxes are those that have the lowest propensity to be automated. Why? Because they actually require human intellect to actually make that part of the process work. Human intellect is probably not going to be automated in our lifetime. So I thought that might be interesting. When this works properly, and you've all seen these kinds of charts before, which is sort of a diagram of how a business process works, the yellow boxes are actually the human bridges that I was talking about on the left. And on the right is how the business process actually works when you have people reassigned to things that drive higher level business value, and you're automating those things that can happen much faster and much more reliably with software bots. Again, if you wanted to take a look at just another part of financial services, wealth asset management operations, again, the orange boxes are the ones that have a higher propensity for automation, and the gray ones are the ones that have a lower propensity to automate because they require more human intellect. The same thing is true on the insurance side. The insurance side is actually changing the entire view of the value chain, especially in front office where you're dealing with customer claims from your customers, and payouts especially. So across the entire value chain, input, decision-making, and payouts, these processes in the orange boxes are the ones that customers are saying they're finding the easiest to automate. The companies on the left-hand side of this slide are companies we all know. Many of them you've heard from, you've talked to, you know them. But on the right-hand side of the slide are specific use cases that our financial services customers are experiencing today. ANZ Bank, for example, has now deployed more than 3,000 bots in less than 2 years. And here's something they told me. Just this last year alone, the bots that they implemented caught 30 security breaches before they were actually able to do damage. Why? Because most security breaches come from inside the company, and most are launched by other bots. And the only thing that can actually react quickly to a bot-created security breach is another bot. They save $2 million per breach, they calculate. So if you multiply that times 30, it's a big number. That alone is big. Banca Colombia, another customer of ours in South America, will achieve their 2,000 bot deployment this month, and they are shooting to deploy 5,000 bots because of what I just talked about by the end of this year. They're moving very, very quickly. And those are just two examples. If you're thinking about RPA, robotic process automation, to automate those things that are not been able to be automated before, here are 3 important steps to keep in mind. First, select the right processes to automate. Those are generally the manual, repetitive, data-intensive processes that every company, especially financial services, is tasked with every day. Rules-based processes not requiring significant human judgment, as I said in a couple of earlier slides, and mature processes that are not likely to change very frequently. Those are generally the best places to start. And also those processes that you get strong business support for, meaning it's a business pain point. Start there. Number 2, start small and fail fast. Start with a proof of concept, getting your organization comfortable with robotic process automation. And after receiving a few quick wins, don't try to create more centers of excellences, or proofs of concepts, I should say, but just move on to other processes that were like the process you just automated and move quickly to scale. Fail fast means that when you quickly identify the automation needs or the requirements that are not working and move past them, just move on to something else. That's what fail fast means. Third, companies that are successful in doing this are organizing for the success of RPA. What they're doing is they're creating a more centralized center of excellence using the key skill sets that people will need, and actually driving also a lot of change management programs as well, because it is a change in the way people are doing business. And they also adopt what's called a federated model. They try not to centralize the deployment of bots very much, but they actually put automation experts in the business units themselves to make more traction, right? If you do these 3 things and keep these 3 things in mind, you will have a greater chance of being successful with RPA. And RPA is now at a point where it is driving huge benefits right now, and also huge benefits. And if you're looking for validation of this, look no further than the investment community, because the investment community is actually targeting investments, very, very high investments in RPA companies, especially the leaders. And if you've read about the valuation of these companies, it might surprise you how fast this category is growing. Finally, I would say to you, each of us in this room work for companies that have a corporate agenda, and we are tasked with achieving that corporate agenda. But what I would always ask us to keep in mind is what our personal agenda is going to be in achieving those objectives. Each of us have to make a decision about what our personal agenda will be in achieving our corporate agendas. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to individuals that facilitate this kind of change. So as you leave today, ask yourself what role you will play in the emergence of what I call the new bot economy. If you'd like more information about RPA, and you'd also like to have a great time getting that information, I would encourage you to join us in Bangalore on the 28th and 29th of August for Imagine. Imagine is what we call our customer and partner experience, and believe me, it is an experience where people come to learn from one another, learn from our partners, learn from us, and most importantly, get knowledge about how they can impact their business in ways they never thought possible, but most importantly, the moment they get back to their offices. People tell me that after attending this kind of a conference, they are able to make changes in their businesses. The moment they get back to their offices, they're able to start. It's been great spending time with you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, as our people are in the back of this room. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.